Welcome back to your latest aviation news recap. In today's update, I'm going to take a look at some developments surrounding Airbus and their A220 program. I'll then be moving over to Austrian Airlines, who are eyeing a new aircraft to power their narrow-body fleet, and Etihad Airways / Etihad Cargo prepping for what is only to be described as a very busy summer. But let me begin with Airbus, who are behind, if you are unaware, in producing its A220 series, and they're looking to implement measures amongst their workforce to cope. The latest measures involve ensuring that employees complete mandatory overtime on weekends to catch up on production of this single-aisle jet. While the A220 has enjoyed significant levels of success with customers, and Airbus has actually also successfully seen widespread adoption across the Americas, which was a target region when it bought it as the C series, there are still problems with this aircraft. The A220 is ultimately a jet losing money. That is a conversation for another day, and probably on the second channel of Globetrotting. But Airbus really does need to stabilize this program to ensure long-term viability. Furthermore, delays mean that customers can't acquire their aircraft on time, which obviously isn't great, but certainly is not a problem just impacting the A220. Reuters reports that imposing mandatory overtime, which Airbus is seeking to do at its A220 factory in Montreal, Quebec, would help rectify production difficulties that have led to delays. Discussions surrounding overtime follow March reports that production of the A220 was going to slow further after Airbus workers rejected a prospective wage increase and instead favoured a strike. Following this, there was a third contract that was also rejected before workers would eventually go on to approve a 5-year deal at the beginning of May, ending any potential strike action fears. Once this was approved, Airbus really charted a course for more stability across its business. 1,300 employees working at the Montreal site saw production actually slip though considerably during the first quarter of the calendar year. These production drop-offs do align with employees seeking better working conditions and wages at that time. They were looking to put pressure on Airbus. Now, the European manufacturer is playing a catch-up game and attempting to rectify the delays that have been mounting. These delays leave the A220 program as one of the most impacted aircraft across the Airbus portfolio. Ultimately, these delays also don't align with Airbus's ambition to continue increasing production to meet demand. Thanks to these mounting pressures, airline delivery timeframes are continuing to slip, and in the steps to achieve Airbus's end goal, they are starting multiple steps behind. Moreover, when you consider the financial implications on airlines, well, the degree of impact varies. Like I said, some airlines will see financial implications as they can't acquire their planes on time. Other airlines will be forced to draft in other jets on a short-term lease. Meanwhile, some companies are looking at retaining older, less efficient jets to mitigate capacity losses wherever possible. And as promised, moving over to the next story, Austrian Airlines is one of the many companies within the Lufthansa group, and they're currently evaluating their long-term structure for the fleet. Evaluations such as these occur right around the world, and they're very important in allowing each respective airline to at least try to best position itself to meet customer expectations and demand in the future decades. Lufthansa Group has purchased already hundreds of brand new aircraft and has been part of multiple new lease agreements to provide as much aircraft as they can for the airlines that call the group home, so they are well equipped for future years. However, CH Aviation reports that Austrian Airlines is now reviewing its future narrow-body fleet, which could lead to actually a shift in strategy internally at the company. Speaking with CH Aviation, the airline's managing director, at the IATA annual general meeting, stated that the airline could actually select the Boeing 737 MAX over the A320neo family. If this direction is decided, Lufthansa Group would eventually be the ones to, say, commit to further 737 MAXs, but before that can take place, thorough studies are underway to determine the best possible strategy for this company. The airline states that if the group does decide eventually to go through with the MAX for Austrian, this would see them switch fully to the 737 family for their narrowbody ops, moving away from Airbus. Interestingly, Lufthansa Group already ordered 737 MAX jets at the end of the 2023 calendar year. The end destination of these MAX jets was not disclosed at the time of the order, similar to all other group purchases. Therefore, these aircraft could prove useful to Austrian Airlines or potentially another company to renew the long-term fleet. Austrian Airlines has a very storied history with operations beginning in the 1950s. It has since accumulated a fleet of over 60 aircraft, with over 100 being retired. But the most important thing for this topic is to consider that its narrow-body fleet consists of solely A320 family jets, with primarily the A320 with some aging A321. And while there are 5 A320neos listed as present, this is the youngest fleet type. The 737 MAX appears though to be calling their name, as they evaluate all options. Many airlines are aware though as well of how in demand next generation aircraft types truly are, and therefore they're being forced to get in early to secure delivery slots and availability. There are substantial risks associated with this. Evaluations such as what is taking place at Austrian Airlines is important to ensure that by the time the 2030s arrive, the airline has enough aircraft to serve demand and isn't short of jets to meet this. More and more programs are seeing their delivery slots disappear into thin air, and therefore the only option will become the leasing market. But as more and more airlines jump into the leasing market, the same problem ensues. It becomes more competitive, and when you pair that with supply chain difficulties, no one can really keep up. On to the final story in today's video at least, and that is Etihad Airways / Etihad Cargo, but with no B-roll footage of the latter. Please just enjoy regular Etihad Airways operations. Just wait till I explain it all a little bit better. This is all because Etihad Cargo is gearing up for an incredibly important and also busy summer schedule, including 23 new weekly flights to 8 new destinations. The freight division says it's enhancing its cargo space available for customers and partners in aircraft belly holds. The enhancement is starting this month and will run throughout the mainline airline's summer schedule. So how is this all being achieved? Well, basically because of the increase in flying at the Etihad Airways passenger network, you're seeing more available cargo belly space to be used for transportation to demand-driven markets for Etihad Cargo. It means that they're able to offer their partners more space to markets such as Spain, Greece, France, and Turkey, with the likes of Malaga, Athens, Nice, Mykonos, and Santorini all seeing service boosts. When you take a look at the Middle East, there is also increases to Kuwait, Bahrain, Beirut, Muscat, Doha, and Cairo, among many others. So there are fantastic opportunities for Etihad Cargo to use the space available to their advantage. The Indian subcontinent will also be seeing increases. Meanwhile, there is a focus on Asia, with Bali, Bangkok, Colombo, Karachi, and Seoul all seeing flight increases on your mainline fleet. And again, to clarify and recap this segment, because of the Etihad Airways mainline expansion of their passenger network this summer, Etihad Cargo in turn will be able to offer more space for their partners and transport their goods to some of the most in-demand cities right around the world. That's going to conclude today's aviation recap. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. If you do happen to have any thoughts, you can leave them down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry news. And we'll